Lesson 63 is solving systems of linear equations by elimination. So, lesson 63, solving systems of equations by elimination. Okay, we're talking about linear equations this time. So there's multiple ways to solve systems. So the one way, and here's a system, we have y equals 6x plus 2 and y equals 12x minus 4. We can solve it by graphing and finding the intersection. And the point where they meet is the solution. If they're parallel, there's no solution. If they're the same line, the line itself, all the points on that line are the solutions. The second way is that, here's another system, 8x minus 7y equals 9, and y equals 10x minus 9. We could substitute, so we could use substitution, which we take the 10x minus 9, because that's what y equals, and plug it in for y, and then we solve. So this is called substitution. So you isolate one of the variables, which is already done there. We substitute into the first equation, solve. Once we get it, we repeat. We're going to substitute what we solve for up here into here and get with the other variable and get our point. And the third way is the way we're going to learn today. It's called elimination. And the way we do that is by adding and subtracting. So we're going to take our whole equations, we're going to add and subtract them. So by adding and subtracting. Okay, so we're going to use an example. We have 5x plus 2y equals 9, and we have negative 5x plus 6y equals 7. So when we're given this system, all we have to do is add them. We're going to add them because 5x minus 5x will be 0x. So we will have 8y equals 16. Then we can divide by 8, and we get y equals 2. Once we have y, we can go back in and we can plug in for y into one of our equations. I'll just choose the first one. So 2 times 2 is 4. If I subtract 4 from both sides, I get 5x equals 5, so x equals 1. Then I'm just going to write my point as a coordinate. Okay, here's another one, another example. If we have 7x plus 3y equals negative 5, and we have 2x plus 3y equals 5, we can multiply the second equation by negative 1. So we times by negative 1, and we get negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 5. And then we can add it to the first equation. Whoops, and we get 7x minus 2x is 5x. 3y minus 3y is just 0. Negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. Divide it by 5 to get x equals negative 2. Then we're going to plug it back in. Let's just pick the first one. 7 times negative 2 equals plus 3y equals negative 5. So we have negative 14, so we're going to add 14 to negative 5, and I get 9. 3y equals 9. Divide by 3, and y equals 3. So our point as a coordinate is negative 2, 3. And that's the end of, oh, look, I didn't show, I'll show you the end of it. This is the end of the lesson. Uh-oh, that's not the end of the lesson. Phew, good thing I didn't turn it off. Sometimes before we solve, we have to change how the equation looks. So before using elimination, you may need to change how the equations look. So here we go. I'm going to do an example. I'll just start it on another page. Here we go. So we have 5y equals 8x minus 2 and 4x minus 3y equals negative 2. So if I take and subtract 8x from both sides in the first equation, I'm going to get negative 8x plus 5y equals negative 2. So I took this 8x and I subtracted it over to there. Then I rewrite the second one, 4x minus 3y equals negative 2. Now we can't eliminate, because it's negative 8x, it's a 4x, this is a positive 5 minus 3y. But if I take and I multiply every term by 2, then I'll be able to have a positive 8x. So I have negative 8x plus 5y equals negative 2, so I just rewrote that one. This one, I get 8x minus 6y equals negative 4. Now when I add them together, the x's go to 0. I get negative y, because 5y minus 6y is a negative y, equals negative 6. Multiply both sides by negative 1 or divide by negative 1, and I get y equals 6. Then I'm going to plug it back in to, let's just maybe do the first one. So 5 times 6 equals 8x minus 2. So 30, 8x minus 2, I'm going to add 2 and divide by 8. So x equals 4. So I write my point as 4, 6. Okay, that's for reals now, the end of the lesson.